3 of a thug's life, a false family. When you've been beaten, starved, and threatened in a place that's supposed to protect you, your heart starts looking for shelter anywhere it can find it. That's when the gangs come in, not with violence at first, but with what looked like love and belonging. Finally, he felt like he had a family, but it came with a cost.
He was banging on the door. Papa, abre la puerta. Abre la puerta. Vamos a morir todos. We're all gonna die. Open the door. And my mom crying and me, leave. But in Spanish, lárgate, vete. Déjanos en paz. And just crying and so afraid that I was gonna die. I legitimately believed, being 9-10 years old, that I was going to die with my mom. And my mom's like, it's okay, Polito, todo bien, you know, just he'll go away and eventually it will stop. And we would sleep there and I wouldn't go to school. And my mom would make the brave effort, because we had 2 doors, to go out the side to see if he was there. Or sleeping in the couch at times. At times he would leave door open in the front door. And then we'll have a breather for a couple hours until he would sober up. And what happened? That was his first question. Many times he knew what happened. I started getting involved at that point more socially with people in school, the community. And that's when I got introduced to the OG of the gang I used to be a part of, you know. And I believe that was at age 12 that I started talking to this OG, which is the leader of this gang, right? There was a nasty gang war. That was back in the times where gang members used to walk the streets, red, blue, or brown, back and forth in groups. And that said, I remember he came to my house once. He was like, hey, you know, your family told me that you're hungry. And I told him, yeah, I'm very hungry. What do you eat? I remember our fridges used to be empty. There would be a gallon of milk here and there, and bread and cheese, and it would just go bad. And I would go to the fridge. I wouldn't even ask my mom for food, being afraid that I was gonna make her upset. I would pick the molded parts of the bread and put cheese and eat that. Or I'll pick the wrong parts of the brick of cheese and just bite it. Sometimes we didn't have food and I would just drink water trying to get full. And it was a temporary full, but it only made me feel worse. Like, you're so hungry, and I didn't know what to do. And the cafeterias ladies would pack up like 2 extra lunches on the weekends because they knew that I didn't really eat over the weekend. And I didn't know about social workers and therapists and asking for help at that time. It was just, oh, this is normal, right? I didn't ask questions. I didn't stick around to see other kids' parents or anything like that. I would just go home. So with that being said, he'd bring me groceries. That's all he would do the first 2-3 visits. And then he would invite me over to the hood. And he says, you know, you can have family. You can be family. You tell a kid like me at 12 years old, 13 years old, that I can be family, that I can say I love you and hear it back. I fell in love. And I remember going over there, and feeling like I was home. I would feel like I had brothers, sisters, you know, I would feel like I belonged there.
He felt he would be killed at home. With no food, he turned to the gangs, who gave him a false sense of family. And that's what gangs do. When love is absent, we'll seek belonging wherever we can find it. Gangs offer what feels like safety, but it's only a trap. Many knows. That sign right there. I'm from the West Coast. I'm from California. The enemy preys on those who feel abandoned. But while the gang said, you belong to us, Jesus says, you belong to me. You are not an orphan. You are not forgotten. You were created to belong to him. He thought he finally found belonging, but the love of the streets always comes with a price, and soon he would be asked to pay it. That's in part 4 of A Thug's Life, a dangerous identity.